So this is the script that he called it like a, this is a winning lottery ticket. And all you got to do is scratch it off. That's what he said. I was like, okay, that makes sense. So I kind of digested this script, and that's why I taught Mikey the script and all my agents the script. But with scripts, just like a CRM, they only work if you work them. And sometimes if it seems too scripted, kind of take what you want out of the script. But there's a lot of one-liners that pop up that I need to add to this script. But this is just the outline of the call. So Laura, if you've never been on one of these meetings, when they call, you get them to talk about the location, go to price, motivation, agent, mortgage, talk a little bit about their property criteria, and then close for the appointment. And then closing for the appointment, the biggest thing you need to do is assume the business is already completed, and then you assume that you're going to work with them and kind of close when you go see the appointment. So, but we will talk about, so first off, I want to jump on if anybody has any questions or specific objections they're handling, that they can kind of just put that in the chat or just open up their mic and chat. Typically we talk about buyers today, but if there's any seller objections that you're having, whether you're talking to FSBOs or expireds or whatever it may be in the listing appointment, these sessions are just for, informational purposes. And, we'll take the meeting as you wish. So right off the bat, does anybody have any questions about, or anything they wanted to make sure and get from this meeting today, or no?
Hi, Jeff. It's Ludmila here again. I have a question, but I don't know if it's better to address it today or Thursday. So when you boost the property and then you receive some leads, some of them, may have a correct email address, but not the phone number. Mm-hmm. So I know, like, we use this script when we go with a phone number, like when we go doing the cold calls. But if it's only email available, what we're gonna do with it?
So I try to give them some type of value, like hang like a cherry, right? So if they don't have it, if they just put their email address for the contact information, you say, hey, I'd like to talk to you on the phone today about that property and some other off-market options I have in the same area. What's a good contact for you? And then try to get their phone number that way. So kind of dangle something. And when you say I have off-market opportunities or stuff that's not on the market yet that I want to show you, all you really have to do is go to the coming soon section of MLS and see all the properties that are not technically on the market. And you'll be surprised how many people list their property as coming soon, and you can kind of share those with them. But so Luda, I would just give them some type of value or almost kind of hang a cherry to get their information is what I would do.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, if they inquire about a specific property, or you say, before I send you the seller's disclosure on this property, or, before, if you wanted the comps or whatever you're doing, before I do that, is there a good number to send you a text or something like that? So some people just prefer to email, but definitely if you want to try to call them or text them, that's what I would do to try to get their information.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I was trying to send, like, for example, first-time home buyers. Like
there you
materials,
go. That may be perfect, right? Yeah, if you haven't bought a house just yet, I'm gonna go ahead and send you the home buyer's guide. What's a good number? And I'll send you a link to the home buyer's guide. Something like that. But dangle something make them want you to give you the correct information.
Okay, thank you.
All right, does anybody else have any items they want to make sure that we address today and knock it out? Let me check make sure nobody chatted. Nope. Phil saw that we're on script practice and got out of here. He's like, nope. See ya. All right, so I'll just go through the script real quickly so you can kind of get an idea of the conversation, and I'll go through it 1 through 7. Oh, Phil's back. I was making fun of you, Phil. I'll go like really quickly. The idea of the 7-point conversion method is to get through it within the initial conversation, and it's really easy to start having 15-20-minute conversations when these leads come through. But if you can get this stuff really down really quickly and turn these conversations into like 5-minute conversations, it's a lot better. So I'll just kind of give an example of the entire script, and then maybe throw out some one-liners. And then if anybody wants to do any type of role play and kind of throw some challenges my way, like I said, whether it's a buyer or seller, feel free to do that as well afterwards. But just so you can get the flow of a conversation. And because I'm recording this, I'm going to kind of go through just a real quick session. So let's see here. It's either Laura or Luda because everyone else is in the room. Will one of you guys be the buyer?
I'll do it.
All right, Laura. Just kind of for, informational purposes, just make it pretty easy. And so we can just kind of flow through the conversation.
Okay.
And then, so someone can get an idea of the 7-point conversion method. So I'll be the agent and you're going to call me, Laura. So go ahead.
Ring, ring.
I never answer on the first.
Ring, 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 ring.
All right, I was just joking. But yeah, hello, this is Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
Yep.
My name's Laura. I'm looking for a house in the DFW area.
Oh, perfect. Is that the only area you're looking to buy in? Just DFW? It's a pretty large area.
Yeah, mostly wanna probably look in like Keller, South Lake. That's probably the area that I want to stick to.
Great. Are you close to work or you just like the schools over there?
Well, I don't have any kids yet, so that
Okay.
doesn't really benefit me. Like the schools don't really matter right now.
Sure.
But yeah, it is close to my work and I really like the style of homes that are over there.
Well, perfect. Those houses range over there in the Keller area. They range anywhere from like 300 and plus. Like there's even $1 million houses out there. Is there a certain price range you're looking to buy in or a price range you feel comfortable with?
Probably like 650.
Oh, great. And how'd you come up with that number?
I just kind of guessed.
Great. Okay, even better, right? So, well, before we get started, the only reason you're going over there is just to be closer to work. I know you said that schools don't matter, but as far as your agent, and when you resell that property, schools are gonna matter. So, would it be okay to look in, like the southeast section of Keller because those are the kind of the better school zones over there?
Yeah, that's okay.
Well, perfect. And I'm assuming you reached out to me directly, Laura, because you're not working with an agent.
No, I'm not.
Oh, perfect. And that $650,000 number, you said you made that up. Did you use like a mortgage calculator or how'd you come up with that number?
Well, I was just like looking at the properties in that area that, really sparked my interest in the ones that I actually really like. So, yeah, I haven't really spoken to anybody at the bank yet though.
Oh, well, perfect. Well, the first step in the home buying process is speak with somebody, especially a mortgage lender. So I have a few that I use. Do you happen to know any lenders yourself?
No, I don't.
Oh, that's okay. I've kind of weeded out the bad lenders as time gone by, and I got 2 that I like to work with. But after this conversation, I'll just send you their information so you can reach out to them because it's really good to get kind of pre-approved before you get going. And there's really a couple reasons why. Number one, it kind of gives us your purchasing power, if that makes sense, Laura. So a lot of people, they could be even approved to, buy $800,000 properties, right? But once they figure out exactly how much a month that's going to cost, they kind of freak out, right? So to get kind of a comfortable purchasing power, it's good to talk with the lender to do that. And the other thing it's going to give us is the pre-approval letter. The pre-approval letter is going to be needed when we go and actually start seeing properties. Does that make sense, Laura?
Yep, I get that.
Perfect. Well, those properties like in the 650 range, I mean, you could pretty much get anything. Is there anything specific about the property that you have to have? Is it a pool? Is it an extra bedroom? Is it a 3rd-car garage? Tell me a little bit about the perfect house you're looking for.
Well, I definitely want a huge backyard with the fence for the dogs. And I want definitely a oversized 2-car garage for sure. Maybe
Okay.
3 if we can find that. And I really want an open kitchen.
Open kitchen, great. So open kitchen, 3-car garage, preferably big yard. You want to be looking at anything? You want to look at water? Do you want a pool? Do you want no pool?
None of that really matters, to be honest.
Oh, perfect. Well, some houses are like full of carpet. Is that something that you like, or you more prefer hardwood?
Definitely don't want any carpet.
Yeah, I agree. So hardwood. What about the bedrooms and baths? Would you be okay with a 2-bedroom, or you definitely have to have at least a 3?
Oh no, it needs to be like 4 bedrooms for
Oh,
sure.
4 at least. Okay. So 4. I'll just do 2.5 bathrooms for sure. Sometimes you'll find those 4 bedrooms, two baths, Laura, and there's no half baths for any guest. So I'll make sure that we're 4, 2.5, 3-car garage, big backyard. And then, you know, for now, keep it under 650 and everything. If I found you a few properties that you would like in that certain range, would you be okay taking a look at properties this weekend?
Yeah, that's fine. That should work.
Well, perfect, Laura. Well, I really look forward to working with you. And what I'll do next is I'll send you information via text. I prefer text. Is that okay? Or do you like email better?
Text is better.
Perfect. I'll send you a text and I'll have a link. That link will be to a few properties that I think you'll find that you'll really like. You'll be able to favorite those. You'll be able to kind of give me some feedback. And, you know, the more properties that you give me feedback on, the better, you know, the less amount of properties we have to look at. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then I will text you my lender's information as well. As soon as you reach out to them and then I chat with them, we'll set up some properties for this Saturday. Does that work?
Will do.
All right, Laura, I really appreciate it. Look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
All right. So that would be perfect, right? If all the buyers did that.
Right?
But we know that buyers don't do that. So there's some objection handlers that are kind of most common. And the one thing that I noticed is, for me, even when I said that, I'm assuming you reached out to me because you're not working with an agent, Laura, and you said, nope, not working with an agent. I just moved on to the mortgage. Typically, when they say they're not working with an agent, you say, great, I look forward to earning your business. If you can just do that, it's a lot better.
Yeah.
It kind of gives the assumption that you're going to be working together, right? So you can assume that you're going to be working there. You're going to assume that you're going to be working together, especially when you go meet them. And then during, you know, motivation, I say stuff like, well, after motivation, you say something. If I could look back and kind of critique myself there, I would say a lot of things. And I would say, as your agent, I would definitely want you to be really concerned with school zones, right? And as your agent, I already know that 650 will definitely get you a 3-car garage. So that may be a little bit helpful, and they just assume that you're going to be working together. But let's say that they said they're working with an agent. One of the first things that I say is like, yeah, I assume you reached out because you're not working with an agent. And they'll say, well, yeah, I'm working with an agent. I was like, great, what's your agent's name? Because a lot of buyers will just say that because they've already spoken to a realtor. So I would say, well, great, what's your agent's name? And you'll be surprised how many people they come off guard. They actually don't have an agent. Or sometimes they say, Jason's my agent. He's a phenomenal agent. You say, well, great. Well, if I show you these properties, and then show you that I'm the better agent for the job, is there any opportunity for me to earn your sole business? And if they say, nope, I'm going to be working with Jason. Say, okay, well, that's great. Is there a reason why you can't reach Jason today? Is he out of town? Is he something like that? But if you basically right there, when you say you're working with if they're working with another agent, they say his name is Jason, and you ask if there's any opportunity to show, you know, to earn their sole business, and they say no, for me, I'm trying to get off the phone. I maybe answer some questions about the property they inquire about, especially if it's my listing, right? You want to sell it. But you know, for me, if I tell them, if I can show you that I'm the better agent, I can get you the better deal. If I can show you off market properties, and then I can show you, you know, Tori, this weekend. And if there's no opportunity for me to earn your business, unfortunately, it just doesn't work for me, right? And you're just trying to get off the phone. So, so another way you can kind of overcome that is say, yes, I have an agent. His name is Jason. Hey, quick question. Is he currently meeting your expectations? Like, is there a reason you're not talking to him right now? Is he hard to get a hold of? Something like that, right? And sometimes that opens up like, yeah, he is actually he's kind of hard to get a hold of. Or have you signed any agreement with Jason saying that you have to use him? Because buyers, you know, buying a house is a free service. So if you're getting a free service, you might as well get the best agent for the job. Wouldn't you agree? Something like that, right? So, but yeah, that's what I would say. There's some common objections there. But is there anything, Laura, that while going through that you've heard, that maybe you heard from a buyer that you want me to maybe overcome, or nothing popped out?
So, as you know, I was working another job as a flight attendant. So I honestly have not had any buyers. I haven't had lease clients. Most of my clients have been sellers though, and leases. So I haven't worked with any buyers yet.
Perfect. Okay. Well, great. Well, thanks for jumping on the call for sure.
Yeah, no problem.
This is kind of what we do. This is a 7-point conversion method. method.
Yeah, well, this is great. I'm definitely liking this, and I will definitely, use it once I come across a buyer.
Right. So I'll just move on to the fifth section, which is the mortgage. And if I were to got some objections saying basically, well, if I send you a lender and then they can get us their pre-approval letter, they can get us your purchasing power, would you be open to talking with them? If they tell me no, they wouldn't be open to talking with them. I would kind of remind them how the process would work and say, well, I would hate to show you a property this weekend and you fall in love with it, only to find out that you don't even want to buy it because it's just so much a month. I would hate to show you a property that you're not qualified for. That's kind of shitty, right? Comes off kind of bad. So if you said, I'd hate to show you a property, you fall in love with it, your kids pick their bedrooms, your wife loves the kitchen, and we talk to the lender and you're pre-approved for that $650, but it's $5,700 a month with taxes and insurance, and you just don't feel comfortable with that. And we kind of not only upset your kids and your wife and stuff, we kind of waste our time. Wouldn't you agree? And then kind of get them. And those are some of the objections that I have with the mortgage, to say, that's why it's good to talk to a lender, just like you're talking with the realtor right off the bat. You need to find the best agent for the job. You need to find the best lender for the job, and then we can start shopping. Wouldn't you agree? Like something like that. So get them to at least, be able to have an open conversation with the lender before we go out and we're starting to show properties on Saturday or whatever. So if they say nope, I just like you were saying, Laura, if they say nope, $650, I just like I've seen houses, I just like the $650 price point. You say, well, great. Well, the first, step in the home buying process is to talk to a lender, and a trusted lender. So I typically, like I was doing, I typically say I've weeded out the bad lenders already. I have 2 that I work with, and I always put it back on the buyer. Do you have any lenders that and kind of make them feel, attached to the conversation a little bit better. And then, that's pretty easy objections there. Home criteria, where I've learned the more questions you ask during this process, the less properties you're going to have to show them. So if they just say, I can buy up to $650, I want a big backyard, kind of like what Laura was saying. And then, she wants an open kitchen. There's probably 150 properties like that, right? So you say, well, great, man. A lot of those houses come full of carpet. You like carpet or no? Like, okay, so now you can search just on hardwood. And then you can even go a little bit more detailed into the home criteria, because like I said, the more you know about it, the less houses you'll show. And it's good to do this and kind of jot that information down, because let's say you're showing them 15, 20 properties, they're getting discouraged because they can't find the right one. And you're getting discouraged because you keep showing them properties. Next time they send you 5 properties to go look at, you say, 2 of these properties are full of carpet. That's 3,000 square foot house. I'm assuming it's going to be at least a $12,000 fix to get all that carpet out of there. You sure you want to go see this one? And then, kind of remind them of what they told you early on. And then closing, I always like the assumptive close. The assumptive close is good for buyers and sellers. So for buyers, you're going to assume the business and kind of ask for the sale. That's when you'll start saying, as your realtor or as your agent, or I look forward to working with you, or, look forward to opportunity of earning your business, something like that. You kind of just assume that they're going to be working with you. And I do that with, like I said, with sellers too. So Laura, I know you're saying that, or anybody really, that you're saying that you work with a lot of sellers. At the end of the seller's presentation, Laura, do you assume the sale, or you kind of say, here's my presentation, and you kind of leave it at like a kind of a gray area? Or how are you locking down those sellers so quickly in your business?
Well, I am definitely like, when I'm on the phone with them to begin with, I try to, ask the questions to where I'll know going in there if I'll have it or not, like why, if I speak to somebody who's completely rude on the phone and they're like, yeah, just come by, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, okay, well, what's the point in me even going by over there if, number one, they're being rude, number two, they're throwing objections at me left and right. And it's like, I'm pretty sure, like, I'm just going to waste my time. And why waste my time going to somebody's house to go check it out and do all this work when I could be taking the time out of my day to be going somewhere else that will actually be helping my business, So I try to pre-qualify them before I even show up.
Sure.
But when I show up, my listing presentations are not formal like everybody else's. Like
Yeah.
mine is not a legit presentation. Mine is just, I go in there, I write down information that they tell me, they show me around the house, this and that. And then I just show them the comps and we discuss
Right.
them. And then I say, hey, what do you think about listing it at this price? And then obviously they start talking about probably commission. I've had that a lot is, or like I'll go in there and I'll close and then they'll call me later or the next day and they'll be like, oh, well, what about this commission? And what about that commission? And I'm like, first of all, like we already discussed this. And then I also asked them, basically to close, I'm like, what other questions do you have for me? What concerns do you have? You know, just anything, like just lay it on thick, right? Just whatever questions you have, just let me know and I'll answer everything. And I'll be, you know, I'll try to be as honest as possible. And that's just the way that I work.
Have
And
you
I tell
been
them,
tracking, Laura, your closing ratios? Have you been tracking that?
No,
Or-
I don't track the numbers, but I will say
Okay.
probably out of let's just say 22 calls in one day, one morning, 22 calls, I'm getting probably 8 to 10 answers and I'm getting probably 2 or 3 decent leads from that and maybe
appointment?
one, no, not even a close from that. Let's just say 150 calls, I'm getting one close.
Oh, okay.
That's 150 contacts.
Yeah. Calls or discussions?
Yeah.
So are you calling them and they're not answering? That's one of the 150, or are you actually having a full?
Calls are where I actually talk to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's, what is that, 1.5%? So getting that closer to double digits will be phenomenal, right? I think my closing ratio on the calls and qualifying leads right now is like 8.5%, which is, but I have a lot of leads. But I think, Laura, and not to pick on you, you just seem to be the one that wants to respond when asked questions. So the value that you're bringing during the presentation, if there's any type of lack of value, that's when they assume that there's even a negotiation discussion, right? If you can come, my challenge to you would be to come up with some type of presentation that shows them so much value that they are excited that it's only a 6% agreement, right? And they're not going to call you and say, well, what's up with the commission? They're not going to assume that that's even negotiable because so much value you brought to the appointment. And when I say value, I mean all the things that you invest in, and let them know, like some of the stuff that we invest in is showing time. Even though showing time in CSS is a given to agents, sellers don't know that, right? So I invest in the showing time. It allows me to track feedback, allows me to demand feedback. It allows me to let me know who the heck is in your house and when they leave.
Oh, no, I do all that at the listing presentation. I'm doing, I'm doing the photography, if they need a cleaner, I can do that. I do the showing time. I literally explain basically the whole process to where, you know, they won't really have many questions. But the one objection that I do get a lot is the commission. That's the only thing. But like, I still do I am providing that value, and I am telling them, like, this is what I'm doing and this is what I will do for you. And I also typed out this paper. So I took Jeremy's course, Jeremy Smith. She sent me that course. And so I took it, and there was a lot of valuable information in there that I was not implementing, nor did I even know about, to be honest. Like, it was stuff that I just wasn't thinking about. So it's like the HOA resale form, like a lot of people live in HOAs and they don't realize that they have to pay for that resale cert. So then they're like, oh, well, what's this? So I've had that multiple times now with sellers that have been in an HOA and condos. And so that was helpful. Number 2 was that other form that he uses. It's like 48 things that you do that I'll do for you as your realtor. It's like a whole list of just 48 things, which obviously I'm not copying that list or anything like that, but I did use some of those examples to create my own. So I'm giving that to the sellers. I'm not reading it with them, but I'm giving it to them as like on a paper. That way they can have that and they can see all the things that I could potentially be doing for them, you know, as their realtor and stuff.
Yeah, well, that's great. So when you leave, I know we talking a little bit about sellers, but when you leave, are you taking something with you from the seller, or are you getting anything signed from the seller?
Everything's getting signed while I'm there, except the seller's disclosure notice, the lead-based paint, and the T47.
Okay. So I used to do the same thing, but what would happen is my 20-minute meeting, 30, 45-minute meeting would turn into 2 or 3 hours.
Correct.
They would be So I'm sure you're experiencing that. They'd want, well, what's this? Well, what's that? This section says this. Can you strike that out? Can you delete that? What is this about? Like, and they're asking about every single thing. So what I've done at the end of the appointment is obviously the assumptive close, right? So assuming that everything went well and they don't have any objections, the next steps would be preparing your property to sell. So when you think you can be photo ready, right? Is it going to be, today's Tuesday, you think you'll have photo ready by Friday? My photographer, I met with him before I came out here. He's available like 2 o'clock on Friday. And if not on Friday, he's available Saturday as well. Just kind of assume all that.
Yeah, I'm also scheduling the photographer before I even go in there. Like I just go online, I schedule the photographer like 3 or 4 days out. And then I'll be like, hey, so are you available this day for the photographer to come by? Because their schedule is very tight. That's what I tell them, which my photographer's is. She's always busy. So I just say, hey, her schedule is very tight, but she is available on this day. And low key already scheduled it. And if it absolutely won't work for them, which I haven't had that issue yet,
right.
then I'll just reschedule it.
That's good. I like that. So my advice on the listing thing was just bring bring everything, right? But I would definitely have the IABS filled out and just really get to know that form. It's a 1-page form. It's very easy to go over with them, the IABS, the different ways that they can be represented by the brokerage. And then once they just initial that, you let them know that when you're leaving the appointment and before you even get to the office, what'll happen is your assistant or your staff or anything like that, they'll send over all the listing agreement and everything. The only thing I need signed today is the IABS, and it turns your 2 to 3 hour appointment into maybe less than an hour. So that's what I would suggest. But so far so good. I think you've been an agent about a year now or so.
6 months, I think, 7 months.
And you're targeting just for sale by owners.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing, but I'm about to start farming. Just because now I have a lot more time on my hands now that I'm here 24/7 instead of traveling all the time.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm gonna, and I'm gonna try to turn all those sellers. Well, the issue was with all my sellers so far, they've already found a place to live, number one, or they're moving out of state. So like I'll send them referrals and then they'll start looking on Zillow out of state and then click on that little button when I already sent them like an agent that will pay me a referral fee. And then they click on that button on Zillow and some Zillow agent calls them and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, I would use those referral forms as some type of leverage for the commission, especially if you're going to discount it. So for sale by owners, it's pretty easy to get the business if you're just open to negotiating commission. But one of the stipulations of my 4.5 or 5% agreement is that they are going to sign a buyer's tenant rep with me. And if they're moving out of state, they're going to sign a referral form with me. So a part of the listing documents that I send them is either a buyer's rep if they're buying, or it's either a referral form that it's going to be blank. It's going to let them know that I'm going to find an agent for them. They just have to sign this. And then that'll lock in the referral for you. So it kind of offset that loss of commission on the front end.
Yeah, the buyer's agent didn't have him sign the buyer rep agreement in Florida. And I'm like, well, that's on you. You should have had him sign it and you should have told him what it meant.
Well, if they sign the referral agreement, that seller will assume that, just like if they sign the IABS, if they sign the IABS and then another agent calls in, they're like, I already signed with Laura, right?
Exactly.
They assume that they signed. Same thing with the referral. And you say, okay, here's all the listing documents. It's all signed. Here's your referral. You already signed it. What I'm going to do while I get your property on the market is going to call and make sure I get the best agent for the job out there in Colorado. And then I'll let you know, and I'll send you that referral form with your agent's information on it, and kind of locks them in. That way, when they go to Colorado and they click on stuff and they're talking to other agents, same thing. I already signed a referral form with this person or that person. So that's just my advice. But anybody else, Luda, or anybody had any questions that they want to make sure they get answered on today's session?
I would like to go with for the closing again, like paragraph 7, if like you wrap it up again, because on today's market, I mean, you go to see one property and next day this property like already on the contract or pending.
Sure. Yeah, I want to kind of educate and set some expectations with those buyers, especially if it's in a low price range. So for example, if you're showing them $250,000 houses and today's Tuesday, and you're going to schedule that $250K house by Saturday, let them know chances are that property is going to have multiple offers by then. And when they have multiple offers, you've kind of lost all the leverage. Comps don't matter. My job doesn't matter. My job is simply getting you the house, right? So is there any time that you're available earlier than Saturday? Because what I'd hate to do is, I send you a bunch of properties, we schedule it for Saturday, and then, all those properties are gone. So maybe set some expectations for them, and let them know there's certain things that they can do to prepare themselves for multiple offers. And maybe I have a document that I send people that describes how to win multiple offers and send them that. But Luda, I would just kind of set the expectations with that person. And I would never show up one person, one property, especially the first time I meet them. So if you're closing for the appointment and you say, I'm going to send you other properties that match that criteria, and then we'll take a look at 4 or 5 homes this weekend, and then they stop you and say, I only want to see that house. One, that's a red flag. There's usually that's a nosy neighbor, what I found out. But what I would say is, if we're out there in that subdivision and, there's a better, nicer, larger property for a better price, wouldn't you want to see it? If they say no to that, there's something going on, right? There's something going on. Most people, when you say, no, I'm going to show you that house, but I already know of a few others, and there's also some off-market ones that will be available by Saturday that are larger, nicer, with a better price. Wouldn't you want to see those houses as well? And when they say yes, that kind of gets you into the door of showing them, 2 or 3, 4 properties. And I would, like I was saying, never show them one, because let's say they show you prepare yourself to show one property. You walk into the house, the kitchen is off of the dining room and it's not open to the living room, and they turn around and walk out. You wasted half your day, right? You don't have any opportunity to try to earn their business. They're not interested in the house. They're not interested in you, et cetera, et cetera. If they go in there and they see that the kitchen's offside, not open to the kitchen, not open to the living room, you say, that's okay. Like I said, I got these 3 ready to go. So just follow me and, hand them the brochure, hand them whatever. We're going to go see this one. It's literally across the street kind of thing. So just don't ever show them just one house, Lou. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? You want to do a role play? We'll do thank you. I'll do it after this.
That's our cue to leave.
Yeah, no, after this, I'll do a role play with you. But just trying to keep the recordings down to less than 30 minutes would be great, so people would watch them. But again, just remind everyone we have these every Tuesday at 2:00, every Wednesday at 2:00, and then Thursdays I do the 1:00 KV core classes. Agent attraction classes are Tuesday at 10 a.m. But there's all kinds of stuff on our website as well. But if you don't have this buyer script, it's in Basecamp. And if you don't have access to Basecamp, just reach out to me or your sponsor, or if you're in Team Legacy, reach out to Sydney. And Sydney's our expansion manager. She'll get you the buyer's information script. So anyway, that's it for today. I'm going to jump off and do a little role play here in the office, and then we'll kind of go from there. Does anybody else have any questions? All right. We'll see y'all next week, or we'll see y'all tomorrow.
Thank you.
See y'all.